In an auto body shop, the area where paint is mixed must be wire explosion proof. This is a critical safety measure due to the potential for flammable vapor clouds to form during the mixing process. These vapors, if ignited, can lead to fires or explosions. Explosion-proof wiring is specifically designed to prevent sparks from occurring, significantly reducing the risk of such incidents. There are several specific requirements that apply to the electrical wiring in a paint mixing area to ensure safety. Firstly, all electrical equipment used in the paint mixing area must be listed for use in Class 1. Division 1, Group D hazardous locations. This classification signifies that the equipment is designed and tested to prevent ignition of flammable vapors under normal operating conditions. Secondly, the installation of all electrical wiring must adhere strictly to the guidelines outlined in the National Electrical Code, or NEC. The NEC provides detailed standards for safe electrical installations in hazardous locations, covering aspects such as wiring methods, conduit types, and sealing requirements. Thirdly, proper grounding of all electrical equipment is essential. Grounding provides a path for fault currents to flow safely to ground, minimizing the risk of electrical shock and preventing the buildup of static electricity, which could also serve as an ignition source. Fourthly, a program of regular inspection and maintenance of all electrical equipment is necessary. Routine inspections can identify potential problems such as loose connections, damaged wiring, or malfunctioning equipment, allowing for timely repairs and preventing hazardous conditions from developing. Following these requirements is crucial for maintaining a safe paint mixing area and protecting personnel and property from the risks associated with flammable vapors. The NEC Article 500 provides a comprehensive overview of hazardous locations and their classifications. Class 1 locations are those where flammable gases or vapors are, or may be, present in the air in quantities sufficient to produce explosive or ignitable mixtures. Division 1 locations are those where hazardous concentrations of flammable gases or vapors are present continuously, intermittently, or periodically under normal operating conditions, or where hazardous concentrations may exist frequently because of repair or maintenance operations or because of leakage, or where equipment breakdown or faulty operation could release hazardous concentrations of flammable gases or vapors, and also cause simultaneous failure of electrical equipment. Group D includes atmospheres containing acetone, ammonia, benzene, butane, ethanol, gasoline, hexane, lacquer solvent vapors, naphtha, or propane. Some specific examples of explosion-proof equipment commonly used in paint mixing areas include explosion-proof lighting fixtures. These fixtures are designed to contain any internal explosion and prevent the ignition of surrounding flammable vapors. Explosion-proof motors are also used to power paint mixing equipment. These motors have enclosures that can withstand internal explosions and prevent sparks from escaping. Explosion-proof switches and receptacles are used for controlling and connecting electrical equipment in the paint mixing area. These devices are designed to prevent sparks and arcs from igniting flammable vapors. Explosion-proof conduit and fittings are used to enclose and protect electrical wiring in the paint mixing area. These components are designed to contain any internal explosion and prevent the propagation of flames. To ensure compliance with safety regulations, it is essential to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or electrician who has experience in designing and installing electrical systems in hazardous locations. These professionals can assess the specific risks in a paint mixing area and recommend the appropriate explosion-proof equipment and wiring methods. It is important to note that the use of non-explosion-proof equipment in a paint mixing area can create a significant safety hazard. If flammable vapors are present, a spark from non-explosion-proof equipment could easily ignite the vapors, resulting in a fire or explosion. Therefore, it is crucial to use only equipment that is specifically listed for use in Class 1, Division 1, Group D hazardous locations. In addition to the specific requirements for electrical wiring, there are other safety measures that should be implemented in a paint mixing area to minimize the risk of fire or explosion. These measures include providing adequate ventilation to remove flammable vapors from the area, storing flammable materials in approved containers and in a well-ventilated area, prohibiting smoking and other sources of ignition in the paint mixing area, and providing fire extinguishers and other fire suppression equipment in the area. Training employees on the proper handling of flammable materials and the safe operation of equipment is also essential. Employees should be aware of the hazards associated with flammable vapors and the steps they can take to prevent fires and explosions. Regular safety audits should be conducted to identify potential hazards and ensure that all safety measures are being followed. These audits can help to identify areas where improvements can be made to enhance safety. In conclusion, explosion-proof wiring is essential in auto body paint mixing areas to prevent fires and explosions. Compliance with the NEC and other safety regulations, along with the implementation of appropriate safety measures, is crucial for protecting personnel and property from the hazards associated with flammable vapors. Remember that using equipment not rated for the environment poses a significant threat. In addition, the proper bonding and grounding of all metal objects in the paint mixing area is crucial to prevent static electricity buildup. Static electricity can discharge as a spark, igniting flammable vapors. All metal objects, including paint mixing equipment, containers, and work surfaces, should be bonded together and grounded to a common ground point. Furthermore, consider installing a flammable gas detection system in the paint mixing area. This system can continuously monitor the air for the presence of flammable vapors and provide an early warning if concentrations reach dangerous levels. The system should be equipped with alarms that will alert personnel to evacuate the area. Implement a strict hot work permit system. Hot work includes any activity that produces a spark, flame, or other source of ignition, such as welding, cutting, or grinding. A hot work permit should be required for any hot work performed in or near the paint mixing area. The permit should specify the precautions that must be taken to prevent a fire or explosion, such as ensuring that the area is well ventilated, removing flammable materials, and providing fire protection equipment. Also ensure regular inspections of grounding and bonding connections. Grounding and bonding connections can loosen or corrode over time, reducing their effectiveness. Regular inspections should be conducted to ensure that all connections are tight and free of corrosion. Any damaged or corroded connections should be repaired or replaced immediately. A thorough understanding of the properties of the flammable materials used in the paint mixing process is essential. Different solvents and paints have different flash points, ignition temperatures, and explosive limits. Employees should be trained on the hazards associated with each material and the appropriate precautions to take. The flash point is the lowest temperature at which a liquid gives off vapor sufficient to form an ignitable mixture with air. The ignition temperature is the minimum temperature required to ignite a gas or vapor in air. The explosive limits are the range of concentrations of a flammable gas or vapor in air that will support combustion. A lower explosive limit, or LUL, is the minimum concentration, and the upper explosive limit, or UL, is the maximum concentration. Furthermore, consider using intrinsically safe equipment where possible. Intrinsically safe equipment is designed to be incapable of releasing enough electrical or thermal energy under normal or abnormal conditions to cause ignition of a specific hazardous atmospheric mixture. Intrinsically safe equipment is often used in areas where flammable vapors are present, as it provides an additional layer of protection against ignition. Maintain a clean and organized paint mixing area. Clutter and debris can accumulate and become a fire hazard. The paint mixing area should be kept clean and free of clutter. Spills should be cleaned up immediately. Regularly inspect and maintain ventilation systems. Adequate ventilation is essential for removing flammable vapors from the paint mixing area. Ventilation systems should be inspected and maintained regularly to ensure that they are operating effectively. Filters should be cleaned or replaced as needed, and fans should be checked for proper operation. Ensure proper storage of flammable liquids. Flammable liquids should be stored in approved containers in a well-ventilated area. Containers should be tightly sealed to prevent vapors from escaping. The storage area should be located away from sources of ignition, such as heat, sparks, and open flames. Limit the quantity of flammable liquids stored in the paint mixing area to the minimum amount needed for the day's operations. Excess flammable liquids should be stored in a separate, approved storage area. Conduct regular safety training for employees. Employees who work in the paint mixing area should receive regular safety training on the hazards associated with flammable vapors, the proper handling of flammable materials, the safe operation of equipment, and emergency procedures. Training should be documented. Establish and practice emergency procedures. Emergency procedures should be established for responding to fires, explosions, and other emergencies. Employees should be trained on these procedures and participate in regular drills. The procedures should include evacuation routes, assembly points, and contact information for emergency services. Review and update safety procedures regularly. Safety procedures should be reviewed and updated regularly to ensure that they are effective and reflect the latest safety standards and best practices. Changes in equipment, materials, or processes may necessitate changes to safety procedures. Maintain accurate records of inspections, maintenance, training, and other safety activities. These records can be used to track compliance with safety regulations, identify trends, and improve safety performance. Use non-sparking tools in the paint mixing area. Tools made of steel or other materials that can create sparks should not be used in the paint mixing area. Use non-sparking tools made of materials such as brass, aluminum, or wood. Control access to the paint mixing area. Access to the paint mixing area should be restricted to authorized personnel only. This will help to prevent unauthorized activities that could create a fire or explosion hazard. Post warning signs in and around the paint mixing area. Warning signs should be posted in and around the paint mixing area to alert personnel to the hazards associated with flammable vapors. The sign should clearly state that smoking, open flames, and other sources of ignition are prohibited. Consider using a paint mixing system that minimizes vapor release. Some paint mixing systems are designed to minimize the release of flammable vapors into the air. These systems can help to reduce the risk of fire or explosion. In addition to electrical safety, proper ventilation and the use of personal protective equipment, or PPE, are also crucial aspects of safety in a paint mixing area. Adequate ventilation helps to remove flammable vapors, reducing the risk of ignition. PPE, such as respirators and gloves, protects workers from exposure to harmful chemicals. By following these guidelines and staying informed about the latest safety regulations and best practices, you can help to create a safe and healthy work environment in the paint mixing area. Safety is a continuous process that requires ongoing vigilance and commitment from everyone involved.